Good morning, good afternoon. I don't know where you are watching us right now. Hello, welcome aboard. First question, where are you at the moment? Just the country. France, India, Austria. I know there are some from, South America, Colombia, Brazil, Italy, Belgium, US, Slovakia, Scotland, Spain, Philippines. What time is it in Philippines? Nice. We have a bunch of people here. Thank you for your presence, first of all. Thank you. It doesn't matter the time you are in. Probably some of you are on the end of your day. Some are on the beginning of your afternoon. Some are on the end of the morning. And some are, if you are in US, for example, probably you are in the beginning of your day. So thank you for your presence. We're now today into something that a lot of people have asked for, which is talk a little bit about advanced forms. I don't know how many of you are already using GLPI 11, and I'm going to cover a little bit about the migration process. I will just, I'm not migrating anything because we have already our video for that, but I will talk about it in a moment. So again, thank you for your presence. Let's start our presentation today to not take your time. Let's save your time and do our stuff. First of all, the advanced forms is a good way to start your support, your service desk. But let's talk a little bit about TechLab, about GLPI. We are the publisher of GLPI since 2015. We are just the official editor. The GLPI, for those who don't know GLPI yet and got to our webinar, we are an open source editor company based in France. I'm in Brazil, but we have people all around the world. We are working from all around the world. I'm from Brazil, as I've mentioned before, and TechLab is everywhere that you can imagine. The GLPI is an open source tool. We just work with open source tools at TechLab. And different from other kind of tools, we don't sell licenses. We are deployed in more than 180 countries, and we are supported at the moment in more than 60 languages. It also depends on the community to have more of these languages. Some of them are not that accurate, but again, it depends also on the community. We have an estimate of over 10 million users, and I'm saying 10 million instances, but 10 million people using GLPI, be it as a requester or as a technician. And we have more than 50,000 cloud instances on our cloud already deployed. GLPI works, we have, as our business, we have two kinds of work and services we provide. As I've mentioned, we don't sell licenses. It's open source. But we have also our services, which are called the GLPI network. We have the GLPI network, GLPI network cloud, and all of our GLPI network partners. Some of them are with us at this webinar, and we work with them so they can provide to you all the integrations and all the solutions to your needs, to your company. So we have 3 tiers of services for those who want to use GLPI on premises. And we also have our GLPI network cloud users that, again, are all over the world. We have servers in Europe, in North America, in Africa, in Asia. We have a lot of servers, and we are also implementing more and more servers this year. And you can also see that on our roadmap that is public on our site. The GLPI Network Cloud has 2 solutions, 2 main solutions, which are the public cloud and the private cloud. In all of them, all of your data is just yours. It's just a name, because when you use the public cloud, you have a shared environment. So it's a server for less users if you have a smaller environment, and it's less expensive. Here you can see the differences between them. If you need a more enterprise solution for your cloud, you can always count on the private cloud offer. Talking about also our network partners, we have more than 100 partners at the moment. So if you need any technical services, you can always look into our partners page, which is this one here. If you want to call one of our partners, here's the link. You can find all the partners we have. Some of them are platinum, gold, and silver. And you can probably find your partner or a partner that is next to you on your country. So let's dive into what we are here for. Let me come back to the chat. And let's start what we have to cover today. But before, I want to ask you a question, and I will let you, if you haven't used Livestorm yet, on your right side below the chat, you have some buttons that say polls, questions, chat. You can click on polls and answer a question that I will let there. Here, publish poll. How do your users currently report IP or service on any kind of services issues? Please submit a vote so I can know a little bit more about you. Great, almost everyone is voting. Emails, phone calls, hallway conversations, basic ticket system, nice, nice. Great. Nice. According to the numbers, maybe the content that I have here will help you or may help you on your support organization, because the majority of you have a basic ticketing system, but users often ignore the fields. Yeah, mostly emails, phone calls, and hallway conversations. I think it's not avoidable. We can't avoid that. But let's go. Let's go to the structure of our advanced forms. Let me just change the screen. Standard interface. Good. So for those of you that don't know GLPI yet, this is the first screen you'll see in your GLPI. Some of the fields here are a little bit different. Just let me know if you are seeing it well. I think now it's better. Nice. If it's too small, let me know, please. Because I like to use the zoom on 90%. Good, good. So in GLPI, we have, in GLPI 11, we have the custom forms that are native into the system. So it means that you can create your own forms. In the past, we had just a very simple form that just asked people urgency, priority, if there were an observer, an asset, and a title and description. But sometimes some of the questions that would be nicer to have when you first open your ticket to attend to support your clients, it would be better if you had some answers before we start the conversation, because if not, you have to keep asking things that could be beneficial to have before. And in GLPI 11, we had the plugin called Form Creator, but we wanted to have it into the tool so we can have also more integration with other parts of the system. So if you are coming from GLPI 10, you can migrate your GLPI 10 forms. If you had already created your forms to GLPI in GLPI 10, you can migrate it for GLPI 11. And we have an update process on our help center, and I will let it on the links menu here on Livestorm. You can look at it after our presentation. And in GLPI 11, we have implemented also a new plugin called Advanced Forms. So if you have the marketplace, you can come to Discover and look for Advanced Forms, which is a plugin that implements some of the advanced features that we had on the form creator. So this is important. If you have, for example, questions that take the IP address question, the hostname question, the hidden address question type, and the LDAP select question type, you will still need an extra plugin called Advanced Form. It is free, everyone can use it. But if you're coming from GLPI 10 and you have one of these kind of questions, you will need this plugin. This is the first thing that I have to mention here. And it is also mentioned on our process of updating GLPI and migrating to GLPI 11. So when we start the conversation about making a less friction portal for your clients, we have to dive into the service catalog. So the service catalog, it's like a menu of a restaurant where you have all the services that your service departments can provide to your users. And let's open this as a user. I'm an end user. I will impersonate it because it's easier. And I can see here all the services that are available for me. Some of them are on my help center, like on the main screen, but some of them are on our service catalog. On the service catalog, I have categories that can be navigated, so I can navigate and browse. This is the kind of service that I want. So in this case, I have human resources forms, I have IT forms, and also building maintenance, for example. If I wanted to have more people working with GLPI as a service provider. So if I click, for example, on access, I will see more forms that I have regarding access. And if I come back to IT, I can, again, find other kinds of forms available for my clients to ask for support. If you haven't created any form, you are probably seeing just this form, which is request a service, which is pretty much the same form that we had in the past, but we have request a service and also report an issue. They are the same, but they will create an incident or a request. This is the only difference that you are going to face when you create your GLPI instance at the moment. Also, on the portal, you can see we have an external link here. If I click on GLPI Cloud Status, this is not by default, I created it. We can see the status of our cloud network, which is an external link. It's not inside GLPI. So if you have an external service or an external link that you want to provide to your clients, you can create a tile here and add a new kind of a link for an external services. And also some pages in GLPI are relatable to these buttons, these tiles that we have here. So if I click on Browse Help Articles, I will be on my frequently asked questions page. But let's see how we do that. If we come here at the administration and entities, you're going to see all the setups and settings that we have for the service catalog. Here on Help Desk Home, you can see the illustrations that we have created in GLPI. These illustrations change colors with the color that you choose for GLPI. So if you choose GLPI here on General, default values, and you change it, for example, to a different color like Clockwork Orange, it will be more redder than a blue. So this is something that is nice because this is a CSS code. This will take all the colors that you have. So for example, here you can see the links are, the icons are a little bit more yellow and more blue because I've changed some CSS colors. And when we come back to our service catalog that I've shown you before, you'll see that the images are also a little bit different. So if you want to have your own images here, you can create your own images and upload it to GLPI. Coming back to the presentation there on entities, root entity. and help desk home. You can create new tiles. So you're going to see something on your right where you can choose if you want a form to be inserted here directly, or if you want a GLPI page inside GLPI, so you can change and choose between these 5. And also the external page, as I've mentioned before. Here you can give it a description that will be shown for you or for your clients, and an illustration. Again, we have more than, I guess, more than 100 illustrations now. They also change colors with the CSS chosen, so feel free to use them. This is an open source library provided by us and a designer. This is a work in progress, so we are going to implement more and more icons with time. Or you can upload your own illustrations. Let's say you have your own illustrations, your icons, and you want to implement them in GLPI. You can just upload them here using the option for uploading images to your tiles. And this is also important for forms and also for knowledge-based articles. These are just the tiles that you are going to see on your first page of your service catalog, as I've shown you before. Here you can also change some of the environments of the service catalog. Actually, even the search bar if you want to enable or disable. But let's work a little bit on the service catalog. If I open the service catalog and I want to find a form that I can see here, for example, signature or email, I guess. Here, I can see the email, and I can also see some of the FAQ article, frequently asked questions articles that are also available for me. Let's say I want to get a new computer. I will get a new computer. I can type a name. This is just demonstrating a form that is already ready. The manager, I can choose the manager, and the phone number. I can have a regular expression here if I want. I will show you after we deal with this. I will continue. I can choose the kind of PC that I want. I will hit continue, and I can choose the software to install. In this case, I have just one software available for this user to be installed. They are being taken from my software catalog. Let's say I've made inventory and I've made available some of the software that are on my inventory that can be installed to this user. Since the other is not filled, I can't submit this ticket. So I've made it obligatory to add something here. So nothing more. Now I can submit my ticket to, wow, probably I did something wrong on my on my form when I was trying to create this webinar. But let's see the forms right now. Here we have the form get a new computer. And this is pretty much a form like a Google form. Let me just take a sip of water. Sorry, the micro is muted or the sound is not working. Let's see. Is there anyone else with problems with my sound? Sound is perfectly, not anymore, only the first. Okay, great. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't see it before. Okay, good. Every form in GLPI is like any other tool of form creation. Everything you see here on the center of your screen is the same thing you're going to see when you publish the form. So you can create questions, create sections, and create some regular expressions or some conditions to show or not a section or a question. So let's create a new form. Here, forms. When I hit add, I can give it a name. So get a new, hire a new person, for example. In Brazil, we have a document called CPF. which is the personal data from people, like identity. I can make it a regular expression because a CPF in Brazil is written like this: 3 numbers, a dot, 3 numbers, an hyphen, and 2 numbers at the end. Let's say I want it to be every time the user types their CPF, or the CPF of the person that is being hired, I want it to be with this format. I can create a regular expression here to configure the validation and to create a regular expression to say that it is just valid if the regular expression is matched. So I will just copy the regular expression that I have here. This is not GLPI, this is regular regex. So it means that it will ask for three numbers, and then 2 numbers separated by an hyphen and points, periods. And I can also add other criteria or invalid if something is wrong. But in this case, I just want to let it like this. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 slash 0, 0, for example, because it's a description of the format, write in this format, for example. Then I could create more questions here, not just one question per line, but I could have up to 4 questions in one line. As I've shown you on the other form for get a new computer, let me just save and preview. I've created inside of the form three columns for the department, the manager, and the phone number. Here is another section for reason. Then we have all the files, the questions for reasons to a new computer. And here I've created like a catalog of computers that could be chosen. So in this case, there are these 4 kinds of computers that the person could be choosing. And then the software install here, I can choose the kind of questions that I have here. But coming back for the other, sorry, you are not seeing what I was showing. This tab. Okay, good. Here I had 3 columns, as I was mentioned, the reason, the questions inside this section. All the yellows here are sections. And here I've created the catalog of computers that I have available for this user, as I was mentioning, but not showing. Coming back to our other form, we could create new questions, like, for example, the name of the person, or new question, date of beginning. And then here I have pretty much every kind of question or kind of format that I want to have in GLPI. I can always have a short answer, but let's say I want a long answer. So now I will have a longer text field, or a date and time. So then I can have the date, and also I can set it to take the current date that is being opened. So I can hide this option, because GLPI will only add the current date. It doesn't matter what the user wants. It will always be the current date. And I can also add here the time if I want, because I can choose, for example, the date and the time that I want here in my question. Another good thing here is to have some of the GLPI items. So GLPI has drop downs, GLPI has urgency, has the options to have users, items like computers, like cars. This is pretty much possible to implement in every form. So let's say I want to give permission to my user to choose a kind of item. So I can click on item, and here I can see user devices, drop downs, and GLPI objects. When I click on GLPI objects, I can choose assets, I can choose tickets, I can choose all the information from management. Again, it depends on the permissions that your users have for these kind of items in GLPI. So let's say you create a field for budgets, but your user doesn't have access to budgets on their profile. They will not be able to choose any budget. So this is not a flaw. This is not a security concern. If they don't have access to something, they will not be able to choose something. So you have to make sure that they are available to see what you are providing for them. Projects, certificates, tools like reminders, everything is pretty much relatable to a form. And if you want, let's create a form. Let's change this form to VPN problem. Let's take some fields here. Save. Come back to our administration users, implement testy at GLPI. And then I will show you another good thing to have in your service catalog, which is something that makes people open less tickets, which is pretty much good. Let's say I have an issue with my email and I don't want to request this on behalf of anyone. I will just hit continue. And I want to select the service I want to set up. So if I don't receive or send emails, I can go on with my ticket. If I can't open attachments, it is an issue. If I want to change my email signature, this is something that I, as an end user, can also do. So I will click here, and I can show to my user step-by-step troubleshooting or anything that can help the user to create their own solution. So here I have how to create a Gmail signature, for example, on mobile and also on a computer. But if the user says that this article is not helpful, they will just click on no, and now I can't create my signature. And then they can detail the description. But Artur, how do I do that? So in GLPI, again, I did it. I didn't change my error again. So issues with my email. If I want to request on behalf of someone, continue. And if I choose here how to change my email signature, this is a condition that says that if the person chooses this option on the drop-down, an article will be shown for them. And if the person doesn't have a solution for that, they can just click on no and open the ticket with their detailed issue. If they say yes, GLPI will only say, okay, thank you for using the support portal. Click here to return to the home screen. This is pretty much personalized. This is customizable, sorry. And I will show you how to do that. But let's see if I have any questions or chats that are important here. No screen animation, sorry, my bad again. Yes, we have a question here that is important to mention now. Yes, will a recording of this webinar be available afterwards? Yes, they will be on YouTube next week. And here's another question. If it's possible to open a new page or tab on external links. You mean when I create the tile? No, at the moment, no, but it's a good question. Thank you. I will write it down. Thank you. So let's come back to the configuration, to the setup of the form. So in administration forms, we have the email. Let me open email. On my questions, I can create some visibility concerns. So I have here a question that it's actually not a question. This is a description type of question. So if I click here, for example, on, where is it here? Add a question, I can choose no, it's not a question. I can choose the add a comment, for example, or a section, a comment. And then in the comment, I will add my article. This is not the same as the knowledge base article. This is a creative way of creating a troubleshooting article inside a form. But you can also navigate them through links for the frequently asked questions. But let's say in this case, I wanted the person that in the case of select the survey that you want help with, I create a drop down. I created all the questions, all the options that I have here. And with this answer here, I just copy this here. And then when I come to my comment here, I can click here on the visibility. And it is only visible if the answer to the question, select the service you want help with, is exactly how to change my email signature. And as you can see, this take into account every text file, every text field that we write in Glpi. So if I choose, if I create another drop down here, enter an option, for example, test during webinar, I'll let like this. Save and preview. Again. If I choose like test during webinar, I can come here on my description, on my comment, and I hit visible. I can see all the questions that I have and the option that I've created right now. So it's only visible if this is equal to that. Or I can choose, for example, if it matches a regular expression, if it's not empty, if it's just a part, or if it's a number, like it's greater than. If the other question is a number, I can let it's greater than. But in this case, it's equal to how to change my mail signature. I'll hit save. These are ways of conditional helps. Again, I will stop changing my my screens. Sorry. Closing all the things here. Closing. My bad. Too many screens. Let's go again. So as I've shown you the form, email, we have pretty much all of these questions. The question, where is not a question, showing me the article for their own purpose, for their own support or troubleshooting, is a comment. So if I come here to my form, I can create here a comment, add a name for this comment, and then add a description. On the description, I have pretty much all the format tools to create this article. So I can let it in bold, italic, text color. So I've created the article here that is only visible if someone asks or chooses one kind of question. So if I come back to the select service you want to help, I can change the fields that I have here or create new ones. So test. I hope you are seeing now, just joking, during webinar. When I come here to my comments, I have the button here up top to configure visibility, and I can choose if it's always visible, if it's hidden, if a criterion is matched, or if it's visible just only the criteria is matched. So I can do both. Here, if I choose is equal to and choose the question that I want to have, so let's say contact number, for example, it will not take any of the drop downs that I've created before. It will take a value. So I could, for example, let it is not empty. So GLPI will only show this comment if the other question is not empty. But in this case, I want to select the service I want help with, and I will choose is equal to, and they will take the options. I don't need to write it down again, the correct options that I've written before. So I can just choose between all of them. For those who used GLPI 10, you know what I'm talking about. So it will only appear when I'm choosing test. I hope you are seeing now during webinar. This is pretty much possible to do in every question and also section. Let's say I want to add a new section here on GLPI, so new section. And I want to, I didn't want this here. I want to move it to here, requester data. Good. So this new section during webinar is only be shown if the requester, okay, if the requester is equal to Arthur, for example. So I can do it also with sections. If I come back to the form, again, I will not change the tab so you can see it. I will impersonate the user. I will choose issues with my email, and I will not, if I choose yes, I can choose my requester. So Arthur, contact number. But if I choose, for example, no here and click continue, I will go to request data. If I choose yes and Arthur, I didn't save it, probably. Sorry. There's nothing on this testing section. Only visible if the someone, yes. Okay, good. Save. Let's see if it's working. Yes. Arthur. Continue. It is not working. Nice. I broke my form. I love this. Let's come back, save it again, and create a new form to show this working. So untitled form, webinar, active, new section, new cache question, requester, data. New section, only visible if not empty. Here the troubleshooting is live. Requester data. Good. Only visible if requester data is not empty. Good, save and preview. Right. Ah, now it's working. Sorry. I broke my other form, so great. So it's working. Sorry, guys. It was my bad. I broke my form. Coming back to the form, I will show you the other places that I have in my forms. On my left, I have every tab of a form. So here you can choose the illustrations again that I've shown you before, the description, everything that is used in Glpi. And I can choose the category. The categories are on our drop downs. So you can create service catalog categories and you are going to see them here. And if I want to top them on the service catalog or not. If I say yes, they will appear on the first page. And if I say no, they need to be searched for. Here I can see all the tickets that were opened with this form and problems, if I have problems. And these are like the main menus that we have in a form. We can choose all the specific users, groups, or profiles that can see a form. And even if I have the necessity of having a form publicly available. So a token will be created, and I can also add unauthenticated users to access this form. This is pretty much a concern if you have like files and attachments to be inserted. You can't have unauthenticated users providing documents because it's, you know, a security concern. We're working on that. But you can pretty much create your public form here. And not just that, when you click here on there are 8 users, you can see every user that have access to this form. So if I change here, probably it will not change anything, but let's say super admin. Oh. I can click here and see how many users have access to this form. This is cool because you can have access to just one group, to just one person, to just one kind of profile, to just, you know, one kind of user. Everything here is granular for security concerns. And on destinations, you will be able to create a form that will be sent. This is cool. This is very cool. That will be sent to one entity, to one group, or to several of them. So if I come back here to my other form, I'm sharing the other tab. Yes, I can come to destinations and I can choose all the properties, if I have a template or not, if I want to send it to a different entity. So let's say I have a question of an entity. I could also have it here, but I don't have this question. But let's say I want to send it to the specific entity, which is human resources. And I want, again, the actors here to be assignees, a group that own an asset of an answer. I don't have an answer for that. Let's just update and create a new here. Add a question. asset GLPI item computers. Save and preview. Let's come back to my destination. Actors. From this question, I want to add the group that own the asset of this question. I will also add some service levels. Let's see which one, information security, for example. I can do that by business rules as well. And I can associate items to this. So I can, for example, insert specific items that I have in my GLPI, or I can take answers from specific questions that are relatable from items, or even tickets if I have tickets. So update items. And here I have in gray all the specific follow-up templates options. So if I have follow-up templates, task templates, and approval templates, I can create them here and add them here, to a form. So every time a ticket is opened, they will be there. The options are going to be the follow-ups, the tasks, and the approval are going to be there. Let me just see if I can show you the order form working. It was working, but it's not anymore. Here, if you see, I have a new approval in awaiting approval or stock check. This will add specific follow-up templates and tasks. So if I come here to other tickets that I've done before, I can see that everything here was inserted automatically. Once I've created a ticket, I've already inserted here a follow-up. The request has been logged, the approval request, the approval answer, and also the tasks. All of them are made from templates. So to have a good form, I would say it's nice to have follow-up templates, task templates, validation templates, and then you can start your form on administration forms and create pretty much every kind of form you have in your GLPI. Let's see if we have questions that I can answer. This is a good question. This is more conceptual, but I will answer you why we can't show impact as a question such as urgency. Because impact is meant to be under the power of the service management. It's not to be under the power of the end user. So we have like 3 options when defining the priority of a ticket, which is priority, impact, and urgency. So the user can say, this is urgent, but the user shouldn't be able to say what is the impact on the business, because the service management team should be the one responsible for defining the impact of the service on the company. So that's why we have the metrics of prioritization. So the user chooses the urgency, the service management chooses the impact using business rules, for example, and the GLPI will calculate the priority of a given ticket. And this is pretty much seen, I guess, in administration entities also. No, it's in general. Here. So if the user chooses the urgency and the service management team chooses the impact, GLPI will calculate the priority of a ticket. For forms that will be used by users of different languages, are there any limitations? Do you recommend any specific tips or features? For instance, we don't have any kind of known issues with it because every form can be translated. So let's say I have a get a desktop phone. I can come here on form translations, create a new language, let's say Portuguese because it's the one that I speak. I will add it here and I can translate every string of my form. So get a desktop phone. So solicitar novo telefone desktop, for example, and hit save. In this case, it's 100% translated. So when I change my language here to Portuguese Brazil and go to my forms, I guess it's on IT equipments. Yes, solicitar novo telefone desktop. So the only thing that I would say you should do is to translate all of your forms and don't create a lot of forms for different languages. In the past, I have seen some projects that had for the same form pretty much 5 or 6 forms using the same thing. So it's quite more complex to manage like 5 forms instead of just translating one form to every new question that you insert. If I have additional fields on my ticket properties, we'll be able to create a question automatically populate a field based on what the user selects. This question is good. Not yet. If I have additional fields on my ticket properties, will I be able to create a question and automatically populate the field based on what the user selects? Not yet. We don't have this ability at the moment. We can have additional fields using the plugin additional fields for tickets because we have just additional fields for custom assets at the moment, but they don't populate these fields using the forms. It's not possible at the moment, unless there's something I didn't see. Business rules on tickets works as the same as GLPI 10, where some fields can be automatic filled based on a select. For example, based on category selected, the urgency can be set automatically before sending the request. Business rules are pretty much the same. I don't know if I correctly understood. But yes, if you have a business rule that says that when a given category is chosen, the urgency is set to high, yes, you can do that. On administration business rules, they are pretty much the same. So you can just create a rule here, business rules for tickets, and then add a new one here, urgency. But again, this is a concept on service management. You shouldn't be dealing just with urgencies because someone can say that their printer not working is very high, the urgency is very high, but the service management team should say that the impact of that given printer is very low, and then GLPI will properly calculate the priority. So you can say like if the category is communication and connectivity, let's say the action is going to be urgency assigned to very high. So yes, this is the same thing. Where are the others? 2, 6, 5. Let's say, okay, good. Will with Glpi 11 include multi-stage verification or request? In other words, will verification for group 2 only be sent after? There's a project on this. Yes. I will not say for Glpi 11, but we are working on that. At the moment, if you have a multi-step validation, here on setup, drop-downs, validation. It's approval, sorry. Approval templates, you have approval steps. And once you use the approval steps, they will appear in GLPI. Every step will be there. So I understand what you are saying. Yes, we are working on that, but at the moment you can have different approval steps, but they're not sequential, they are parallel. And for those that use GLPI, with WhatsApp, yesterday we have released our GLPI WhatsApp integration. So if you don't want to use forms, I know sometimes there's some friction on users that don't want to use forms. You can have now integration with WhatsApp. It's available for GLPI cloud instances and all GLPI on premises under the basic subscription or above, for example. Let's see if I have anything else. Approvals also for user. Yes, you can create here on the drop downs, on the templates, the new approval. You can choose a user or a group of users. Guys, if you are having trouble with GLPI, the best place to send them is our GitHub or the support if you are a client. So I can't, provide support here. Good, good. I will also add here on our links the link to our e-report that was released this week as well. And I hope I had helped some of you with our advanced forms. Some things were not as I wanted. I don't know why. I had to troubleshoot online. Sorry for that. I wanted it to be a little bit smoother. But again, thank you for your presence. Thank you for your participation. And I hope you can enjoy the next webinars for the next weeks. We are going to have one webinar per month. So every last week of the month, we have a webinar. I'm not aware of the next subject. Maybe you are going to dip a little bit more on assets and total cost of ownership and maybe some life cycle. I'm not sure. So be updated. Keep your presence on our social networks. I'll also let links here. So our social networks here. We are going to show you there the next webinar, probably next week. And the presentation is also going to be available on our YouTube next week. Thank you again for your presence, and see you